Have you ever looked at a woman who once meant everything to you, only to find her watching you from a distance, saying nothing? No texts, no calls, just silence. And yet, she's still watching. Why? Why would she disappear, go quiet, and yet keep a hidden eye on your every move? Is it love? Is it regret? Or is it something far more psychological, something that Marcus Aurelius would have understood? More than any modern dating coach? Stick around, because in this video, you'll discover why her silence speaks louder than words, and why it's not the end, it's a test, one that few men pass. This video might just shift how you view breakups, ghosting, and her silence forever. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. If you've ever been on the receiving end of cold silence, it helps more than you know. And trust me, you'll want to watch this till the very end. Because this isn't just a video, this is a mirror into your love life and how to reclaim power, peace and purpose the Stoic way. There once was a man, let's call him Aiden. Aiden was confident, focused, driven, until he met her. She was beautiful, unpredictable and addicting. They shared laughs, late-night talks, and dreams for a future. But then, something changed. She became cold. Not all at once, just gradually. She stopped asking about his day. She didn't seem to care when he talked. Her body was there, but her mind elsewhere. One day she just stopped replying. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. But here's where it gets strange. Aiden noticed that she still viewed his stories. She was still liking his old photos. A friend of a friend mentioned she asked about him in passing. Still watching, still silent. What did it mean? Most men would panic, beg, text, overthink, but Aiden chose something different. He opened Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome. And what he found inside reshaped his soul. Let's break down 10 Marcus Aurelius suggestions that explain exactly why she's silent and how a real man responds. 1. If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you thought it would never end? Maybe it was the way she looked at you when you weren't even talking. Maybe it was the late-night conversations, the shared dreams, the laughter that made time disappear. But then, she began to fade. She stopped texting first. Her smile became forced. And eventually, she vanished. No fights, no closure, just silence. And you were left wondering what happened. This was Aiden's story. But if you're honest, maybe it's your story too. And when she went silent, his first instinct was rage. She ghosted me. She didn't value me. I was nothing to her. But then Aiden remembered a quote from Marcus Aurelius that hit him right in the gut. If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek. See, most men spend their energy blaming her. They make her the villain in their story, because that's easier than facing the truth. But Marcus Aurelius invites us to flip the mirror. What if her silence is not rejection but reflection? Aiden did something most men won't do. He sat in silence. He looked within, and he realized, somewhere along the way, he lost himself in the relationship. He had stopped chasing his goals. He had become too available. He had expected her to be his happiness. And when she felt that, she pulled away. Now I want you to pause and think. Be honest with yourself. Did you give too much too soon? Did you expect her to fix what only you can fix inside? Did you ignore the signs because you feared the truth? Because here's the thing. Her silence might not be cruelty. It might be a test to see if you'll grow, if you'll evolve, if you'll finally become the man you were before you needed her to validate you. She's still watching, not to hurt you, but to see if you've changed. So, have you? Or are you still running from the truth? You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever stared at your phone, heart pounding, just hoping she'd text you back? You refresh your messages, nothing. You see she was online, but she didn't reply. And suddenly your whole mood crashes. One silent moment from her becomes a storm inside your head. Sound familiar? That's what Aiden felt. Every single day after she went silent, he replayed her last words, analyzed her last text, scrolled through old pictures trying to read between the pixels. But here's the turning point. One night, after hours of mental torture, Aiden opened a page from Meditations, and there it was. Marcus Aurelius whispering truth across centuries. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. In that moment, Aiden froze, because he realized something that changed everything. He couldn't control whether she replied. He couldn't control why she was watching his stories but staying silent. But he could control how he responded. And that's where the shift began. He stopped chasing the unknown. He stopped playing detective in someone else's mind. Instead, he turned his focus inward. He built a morning routine. He hit the gym not to impress her but to rebuild himself. He started reading not her captions but philosophy. He started journaling not to win her back but to win himself back. Now let me ask you, what are you trying to control that you simply can't? Her silence? Her attention? Her feelings? You don't control her behavior. But you do control your reaction. You control what you feed your mind. You control what time you wake up. You control what kind of man you become while she's watching in silence. Aiden learned that peace doesn't come when she replies. Peace comes when you no longer need her to. And here's the twist. The moment he let go of needing her, she texted him. Why? Because power attracts. And a man who controls his mind is magnetic in a way no text ever could be. So I'll ask you, right now, are you a slave to her silence? Or are you the master of your own thoughts? The answer changes everything. 3. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When she pulled away, ignored your messages, stopped caring, went silent, did you feel this deep urge to do something back? Maybe you wanted to post something to make her jealous. Maybe you thought, if she's going to ignore me, I'll ignore her even harder. Maybe you wanted her to feel what you were feeling. That was Aiden's exact mindset. After weeks of silence from the woman he once shared his soul with, he started plotting. He unblocked an old flame. He posted gym selfies with captions like, "No time for games." He replied to her friends' stories just to stir the pot. It was petty. It was emotional. And deep down it was pain wearing a mask. But then another night, another page from Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That quote hit like thunder. Because in that moment, Aiden saw the truth. He was becoming exactly what he hated. She had gone cold, detached, immature. And in his attempt to get even, he was letting her actions shape his identity. He wasn't rising above. He was falling right beside her. So he made a choice. Not to forgive her out loud, not to chase, not to play games, but to exit the game completely. He stopped posting for attention. He stopped checking if she viewed his stories. He started moving in silence and building in silence. And guess what? The silence that once haunted him became his power. Now I want to ask you, because this is about you. Have you been mirroring her coldness just to feel like you're in control? Have you tried to match her silence, her indifference, her attitude? That's not strength. That's reaction. And Stoicism teaches us reaction is weakness, but restraint is power. You don't need to become cold to prove anything. You need to become calm. Let her wonder why you never reacted. Let her feel the weight of a man who didn't need revenge because he had evolution. Aiden didn't become what hurt him. He became what healed him. So the next time you want to clap back, post, provoke, or prove something, just smile quietly and walk forward. Because your peace is the loudest revenge. For waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, if she could just see the kind of man I really am, she'd come back? Maybe you've typed and deleted long texts, explaining your love, your intentions, how much you cared. Maybe you've rehearsed conversations in your head, if only she'd just listen. Maybe you've tried to convince her that you're a good man. Aiden did all of that. He crafted the perfect message, polite, honest, vulnerable. He hit send. No reply. 2 days passed. Still no reply. And in that gut-wrenching silence, something cracked inside him, not from her rejection, but from a deeper truth. He had been arguing for his worth, begging to be seen. Then one morning, while walking past a bookstore, he stopped in, picked up Meditations again, and found this. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Aiden stood frozen, because Marcus wasn't talking about proving himself to her. He was talking about proving himself to himself. You see, the moment you try to convince someone of your value, you've already given them power over your identity. A real man doesn't argue his worth. He embodies it. Aiden stopped texting her, not out of bitterness, but because he realized something radical. He didn't need to say he was a good man. He needed to become one. So he started showing up for himself. He rebuilt his morning discipline. He reconnected with his values. He started serving others, mentoring his younger brother, volunteering, pouring into his purpose. And guess what? People noticed. His energy shifted. He walked differently, spoke differently, but more importantly, he felt different. Not because she came back, but because he came back. Now ask yourself, are you waiting for someone to recognize the good in you? Or are you willing to live it, breathe it, become it, whether anyone claps or not? You don't need her approval to rise. You don't need anyone's validation to become a man of depth, purpose, and strength. So stop explaining, start embodying, because a man who lives like he's enough never has to argue again. 5. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What if her silence isn't ruining your life, but rebuilding it? It doesn't feel that way, right? Right now, it feels like the world's standing still, like the silence left behind by her absence is suffocating. You can't sleep. You can't focus. Every love song on your playlist feels like it was written about her. That's exactly what Aiden felt. He thought he was moving forward in life, until she disappeared, and suddenly everything froze. His motivation dropped. He couldn't even look at the places they'd been together. He told himself, once I get over her, I'll be myself again. But weeks passed, then months. He waited for healing, but healing didn't come. Until one evening, while reading Meditations, he stumbled across this timeless Stoic truth. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. It hit him like lightning. He had been treating the pain like a wall, like it was blocking his path to peace, focus, purpose. But Marcus was saying something radically different. The pain is the path. The silence isn't the enemy. It's the teacher. The heartbreak isn't the thing stopping you. It's the thing shaping you. So Aiden stopped waiting to feel better. He used the ache as fuel. He wrote about the pain. He trained through the numbness. He built his business with a fire that came from loss. He didn't wait for peace to come. He built peace from the ruins. And something shifted. He didn't want her back anymore. He wanted himself back. Now let me ask you, what pain are you avoiding? Is it her silence? Is it the rejection? Is it the belief that you weren't enough? Stop treating that pain like an obstacle. It's a doorway. It's the universe, no, your own soul, screaming, there's more in you. Let this burn build you, so don't avoid it. Walk through it, because in the end, the very thing that shattered you becomes the thing that shapes you. And that, my friend, is Stoicism in motion. 6. How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks. How many times have you opened her profile today? How many times have you checked if she saw your story? If she liked someone else's post? If she's moved on with another guy? You don't even want to check. But your fingers go there like they got a mind of their own. That was Aiden's trap too. Even after weeks of no contact, he couldn't help but look. He'd scroll through her Instagram at 2 a.m., seeing her smiling, out with friends, living like he never mattered. Each picture hurt more than the last. But still, he looked. And one night, while doom scrolling, he saw a post that almost broke him. She was with someone else. Or at least, it looked that way. His stomach dropped. His mind spiraled. Every ounce of progress unraveled in seconds. But instead of reacting, Aiden picked up his journal. He opened Meditations, and there it was, staring back at him. How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks. Marcus wasn't just talking about neighbors. He was talking about her. About them. About anyone outside your own mind. And that night, Aiden made a vow. No more checking her stories. No more mutual friend stalking. No more keeping tabs on a life that didn't include him. Why? Because every second spent watching her was a second stolen from his own life. He started counting his time like gold. He used it to read, to lift, to build, to sleep, to heal. And slowly, the addiction faded. And the beautiful thing, he started feeling free. Because the truth is, you can't build a future while staring at someone else's. So I ask you, how much time have you already given to watching her instead of becoming you? What would happen if you took all that energy you're giving to her profile and gave it to your purpose? What if your future isn't in her next post, but in your next move? Let her watch you grow in silence, but stop watching her live without you. Your time is your power. Don't give it away. Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look. Have you ever laid in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why the pain isn't going away? You think of her laugh, her scent, the way she used to hold your hand when no one was watching, and now she's gone, silent, and still somehow everywhere. That's how Aiden felt. Even months after the silence started, the memories were loud. And worst of all, he felt weak, like he lost himself in trying to hold on to someone who had already let go. He started searching for strength in all the wrong places. External distractions, temporary pleasures, fake smiles around fake people. But none of it worked. Until one evening, exhausted and hollow, he sat down in complete silence and opened Meditations again. And this line felt like it was written just for him. Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look. He paused. Could that really be true? Was the strength he'd been looking for not in her reply, not in validation, not in the next relationship, but inside him, buried beneath his pain? So he began, not with noise, but with stillness. He turned off his phone. He sat with his thoughts. He started journaling, not just what happened with her, but what was happening within him. And day by day, something shifted. He stopped waiting to feel ready and started trusting that the strength was already there, waiting for him to access it. He began remembering who he was before he fell apart for someone else. And piece by piece, he rebuilt himself. Now I'll ask you something real. When was the last time you sat with yourself, no distractions, and listened to what your soul was trying to say? Not the noise, not the craving for her attention, but the still quiet voice inside you that says, I'm not done. I'm still here. Get up. You see, heartbreak doesn't destroy strength. It reveals it. And if you dare to look inside, really look, you'll find something she could never give you. Unshakable self-respect, because that's where the real power lives. Not in her words, not in her silence, but in your soul. To live a good life, we have the potential for it. If we learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference. Have you ever let someone else's absence ruin your entire day? Maybe even your entire identity? You're sitting at work or with friends, but your mind? It's stuck in one place, her silence. You check your phone. Still nothing. You open her profile again. Still no response. You see she's online, laughing, living, and you start thinking, how can she be fine while I'm falling apart? That's the trap Aiden fell into. He thought the pain meant she still mattered. That if it hurt, it was because she was important. But Marcus Aurelius drops a truth bomb that most of us don't want to hear. To live a good life, we have the potential for it. If we learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference. It hit Aiden like a thunderclap. Because for weeks, maybe even months, he had been letting things that made no difference control him. Her silence, her posts, her attention, or lack of it. All of it had power over him because he gave it power. And that's the key. Her silence only hurts because you believe it still means something. But the truth? It doesn't. If she's no longer choosing you, then her opinion, her attention, her actions, they make no difference to the life you're capable of living. Aiden realized that to live a good life, he didn't need her closure. He didn't need her apology. He didn't even need her to understand what she'd done. He just needed to reclaim the one thing he always had control over, his focus. So he shifted. He became indifferent to what no longer served him. Not out of coldness, but out of clarity, and suddenly life started to feel lighter. Now I want to ask you, what are you giving energy to right now that no longer deserves it? Her silence? Her happiness without you? Her new relationship? Let it go, because none of it changes the man you're capable of becoming, that good life you dream of. It starts the moment you stop chasing what makes no difference and start becoming what does. 9. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What have you been feeding your mind since she left? Are you constantly thinking, why wasn't I enough? Who is she talking to now? What if I had just done things differently? Because if so, you're not just replaying memories, you're rewiring your soul. That's what Aiden learned the hard way. After she disappeared into silence, his days blurred together. He woke up thinking about her. He ate in silence, remembering her smile. He fell asleep wondering if she ever thought of him. At first it seemed harmless, normal, even comforting. But slowly, something darker crept in. He stopped smiling. He stopped creating. He stopped dreaming. His soul felt heavy, as if her silence had become his identity. Until one afternoon, scrolling through an old notebook, Aidan read a line he had once underlined in red. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And it hit him. Every thought he entertained, every what if, every memory, every self-blame was coloring his soul. And right now, it was turning dark. That moment changed everything. Because Aidan realized that his mind wasn't a prison. It was a paintbrush. So he started changing the palette. He swapped out regret with reflection, pain with purpose, obsessing with observing. Each morning he replaced "why did she leave me?" with "what can I learn today?" Each night, instead of wondering who she was with, he wrote down what he was grateful for. Slowly, his soul shifted shades, not to erase her, but to rediscover himself. And I ask you now, what color are your thoughts painting your soul right now? Are you soaked in sadness, doubt, and rejection? Or are you starting to lean toward hope, growth, and power? You don't need to force healing. You just need to guard your thoughts like sacred ink, because they're not just passing ideas, they become you. And the more you train your mind to think like a Stoic, focused, grounded, grateful, the more your soul begins to radiate that unshakable energy. The kind that doesn't beg to be seen, because it already knows its worth. 10. Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Have you ever met someone and felt like you were supposed to? Like fate for a moment. Got it right? Think back to the way she looked at you that first night, to the warmth in her voice when she said your name, to the tiny, unexplainable signs that whispered, "This was meant to be." That was your moment. That was the universe unfolding. And maybe it didn't last. Maybe she left. Maybe you walked away. Maybe time, silence, or life itself tore it all apart. But here's what Marcus Aurelius would say to you in this moment of reflection. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. That woman who came into your life, she was part of your path, not to complete you, not to stay forever, but to awaken something in you. You see, love isn't always about forever. Sometimes it's about impact. Fate doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what you need to grow, to break, to rebuild, to rise. Take Daniel's story, for example. He met Ava at a bookstore. She challenged his mind, his silence, his walls. For 2 years, they danced through sunsets, coffee shops, arguments, laughter, and healing. But one day she was gone. No betrayal, no explosion, just fate moving forward. Daniel could have grown bitter, but he didn't. He accepted that she was meant to walk beside him only for a chapter, not a lifetime. And he loved her fully without regret. Why? Because fate didn't betray him. Fate taught him how to feel, how to give, how to grow, and that's the power in Marcus Aurelius' words. When you resist fate, you suffer. But when you trust it, you transform. So don't cling to who left. Don't curse the timing. Don't chase closure. Accept love, let go with your whole heart. And you'll find peace, because maybe she wasn't the end of your story. Maybe she was just the lesson that prepared you for the real beginning. Conclusion. So, why is she still watching you? Because silence doesn't always mean it's over. Sometimes it's curiosity, sometimes it's regret, and sometimes it's admiration from a distance. But none of it should control you. Let her watch you. You walk, you rise, you grow. Because in the end, a true Stoic man doesn't need to speak to be understood. His presence says everything. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.